Hello, everyone. I am excited today to be able to give a reaction video to when I was on Carnivore today's channel. Adam Lacey did an amazing job editing and really putting me at ease during the interview. And in December, we had a really nice chat, and I had never been on anyone's channel before. And at some points, my mouth was going quicker than my brain was. There was, a little bit of nervousness because I had never done it before. But Adam was really, really great. But as I was watching the video, I was noticing some things that I thought, I might need to just clarify that a little. Plus, just the fun of trying to do something, new that I'd never done. I thought it would be pretty neat. So if you will bear with me not being technology inclined, and I'm not going to watch the whole video like many reaction videos do. Just gonna go to the parts that just needed some um, clarification, and then I'll have the link in the description to the full video, and you might want to go and watch the full video because Adam just does a really bang up job, and maybe one day I will have the skills to edit things the way he does. I hope to anyway, because I hope to eventually start having guests of my on my channel. So anyway, um, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. So the first part, I want to do the introduction portion of the video because I think it's really, really cool. So
at the age of 27, I was actually walking with a cane, and I would lose weight bearing ability in half my lower body, and I would never know when it was going to happen. I haven't touched my cane in at least 5 years. In 2013, I was diagnosed with general anxiety, severe social anxiety, and chronic PTSD, but I didn't know what it was until then. And my mom struggled with mental illness her whole life, and the system never helped her. My pain flares were extremely high. I used to have a standing prescription. They'd alternate it between the Vicodin and Tylenol with codeine, and then 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. At that point, I was anti-keto. I was like anti-keto to the max. People do not need to live sick. I didn't need to live all those years in pain. No one ever said, hey, there's a better way.
wasn't that just a really cool like introduction? I love how he does those. So I'm just gonna fast forward to the first portion where I wanted to just give a little bit of clarification.
So in 2013, I was diagnosed with general anxiety, severe social anxiety, and chronic PTSD. So like I had a
So this is one of the first areas of the clarification. It was actually in the beginning of 2015, not 2013, that I had gotten my diagnoses. And in addition to the ones that I mentioned in the video, I was also diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, also known as BPD, not bipolar, but just a borderline personality. And it's kind of a general catch all thing, and it's actually more common than you would think.
lived with it, and in 2011 we lost our eighth child at 34 weeks. So he was stillborn, and that is what really like.
So this whole section, the one thing that I really I didn't mention, just because like this is a really dark part in my life. Um, there was a our parish priest really kind of just intuitively knew that there was something going on after we had lost our son. And so he really just kind of, looked out for me and helped draw me out of that abyss that I was in. And that was probably one of the, out of everything that I've been through in my life, that was one of the darkest times of my life. And so I truly believe that if it hadn't been um, for that help, that I probably wouldn't be here today. So I was very glad to have an angel here on earth walking with me, and got me through that time.
Um, so we went through the paleo, and then we had a couple of years where we were fostering my niece and nephew. So we had 10 children in the house, and life was so crazy. We kind of fell off of that and ended up back into the processed food because, I mean, we're getting government subsidies because of the foster kids. So you had WICs, you had to do the juice, and you had to do this. And once they left.
So I just wanted to add that with the government programs like WIC and things, they really keep these low income families. And it wasn't that we were low income. We aren't rich by any means, but we had to use the WIC because of the foster kids, and in Wisconsin, it's a government thing. Um, but it's not healthy food. They subsidize whole grain cereals and like just all these processed carbs. And they call them whole grain even though they're not, and like with the juice and things like that. Um, so yeah, when you're getting things like that, it's almost like they want you to continue to be sick. And I think we need to have a grassroots movement or something to try and change what they're helping these low income families with, rather than this cheap processed food that just leads to having to go to the doctor and things like that, and giving them, even if it's just cans of tuna and things, that would still be far better than what they have now. So those were just my 2 cents on that.
And I just couldn't even believe that someone snapped that of me. Like, I have no pictures of myself, so it was really hard to even find one. And but I was at that point I was anti keto, like because I had just listened.
So these are some of the pictures that I had sent of myself from when I had been gaining all my weight and everything um, prior to when we had started keto. So it took a while for me to dig back through and find anything, because I don't like pictures of myself. So yeah. Mm.
I had ever been, and so I messaged her, and she was getting ready to move from Seattle back home to Washington, and
This I just need to clarify real quick. Um, Seattle is in Washington. So my friend was actually moving from Seattle, Washington, back home to Wisconsin. That was another one of those areas where my mouth was going faster than my brain could keep up.
yeah, no, you're not going to keep doing that, you know. And his doctor was like, you just keep doing whatever your doctor tells you to do, you know, because right. What they were doing wasn't helping him; it was killing him. And I want my dad to be around for a lot more years. You know, he's dropped over 70 pounds now, and he's off of his insulin. He's not taking any medications, you know. And what were they doing? They were just continuing to raise his insulin and throw this medication and that medication on him.
Wow. So how long did it take for him?
So I did just want to clarify real quick here. He's actually lost 100 pounds. My dad has lost 100 pounds. And while his diabetes is not fully reversed, he's at the low end of the type 2 diabetes just borderline being pre-diabetic, and we just continue to work on getting him down to eventually non-diabetic status. But he's doing really great. I just talked to him the other day, and he had an appointment with his VA nutritionist, and she was not happy with things that he was doing, which I find hilarious, and tried telling him that all of his weight loss was dehydration, 100 pounds of dehydration. So I just bring that up because, just want to, uh, it's very important to know um, about your body and be able to not just take everything that these medical professionals are saying as, basically like the end all be all, because he was getting really bad advice from her. And she wanted him to go back on insulin and all these medications, and he's doing fantastic without them. So, anyway, he has actually lost 100 pounds and not 70, and that's in a little over a year. So,
that was in September of 2022, and by this past summer, he was down in the pre-diabetic range. He'll always message me, "Oh, look, I'm finally in Wonderland." He's under 200 pounds. I think he's at like 180 now or something, but he was up like in the 260 range.
So this is still the part where I'm talking about my dad, and I just want to clarify, when we started with fasting and Dr. Fung's protocol, and just whole foods, but just lower carb, not necessarily keto or carnivore, he was almost 300 pounds. And so now he fluctuates between 195 and 200. And so it's still like the lowest that he's been since he got out of the Army. And, he's hoping to get down to around the 170 eventually, but he just has to heal some more. But yeah, so he's doing really great. But in the interview, I did have some of my numbers not quite correct. So I just wanted to just clarify that.
9 to 10 range. Okay. So he had been he's through the VA, so he was a long time in the Army, and his VA doctor had been handling his diabetes, but when it just got like too out of control, and that they couldn't keep it under control, then they forced him to go to an endo. And the insulin that they had him on was so they had him on a mixed insulin, which was one that you have to eat to. You just don't have a choice. You have to eat to it. And they had him on a 5 times concentrated one. So he was on 100 units of that a day, which really would have been 500 units. And his blood sugars were still like way too high. His vision has been impaired because of it. He does have neuropathy because of it. There were other things, and so you just knew, like, he couldn't really even bend down to tie his shoes because he was so heavy and out of breath, and he was just insane. And now he's back to, like, he can go for walks, he can tie his shoes, he can be out putzing in his garage and not have to sit down every 5 minutes. And because of COVID,
So that was all. I just wanted to share some more of my dad's story. But if you watch the whole video, then you'll be able to see that. I had just marked down that, again, he wasn't fully down to pre-diabetic yet, but he's super close, and again, off of all of his medications. So that is just amazing, and just shows what you can do if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got like 3 kids that my boys don't live at home anymore. And so my 3rd son is a carnivore, and he is built, he is jacked.
So this was another instance where the mouth was going faster than the brain. I have 8 children. My oldest, number 1, is girl. Then we have 3 boys, and then we have 4 more girls after that. So it's not my 3rd boy, it's my 2nd boy, but my 3rd child. My 3rd boy is the one that eats junk and nothing but carbohydrates, which you'll hear in a minute.
He just really like jumped on this, and he loves the meat, and he can really tell if he goes off, he's brain foggy and whatever. My 2nd boy tries to be, but he's a whole nother story.
So again, mouth moving faster than the brain. My 2nd child, but he's my 1st boy. He actually lives with my 2nd son, my 3rd child. And so the 2nd boy, the carnivore, does try to keep his brother eating on the same path when he can, but he's not his brother's keeper. And so, he just tries to make the best example. But again, 2nd child, 1st boy, not 2nd son.
And my 3rd son, so it'd be my 4th child, he just eats garbage.
And here, I actually got it right. My 3rd son, my 4th child. Nothing to clarify there.
He's just, and nothing you can say to him. And you know what? That's our fault, because when they were little, we listened to the pediatrician, we listened to the experts. They need vegetables. If they don't finish their vegetables, put it in the refrigerator, and they get it for breakfast the next morning. But
It's
I mean,
coming.
it's coming. I have regrets, and they know when they come to mom's house, they know.
And here, I just want to make one clarification. It's really not a big deal. Mom and dad's house. It's not like I live alone, and my husband and I, we try to teach the kids now and anyone that will listen about eating this way, and we're in this together, and I'm his cheerleader and he's my cheerleader. And so it's mom and dad's house. When they bring the crap to mom and dad's house, they have to take the crap away with them.
Yes, we use sugar that has stevia in it, but it doesn't have no bad seed.
Okay, so this is the last clarification, and I think it's the funniest one because I don't use sugar that has stevia in it. Ketchup. We do use a ketchup that has stevia in it instead of sugar or high fructose corn syrup. And for a long time, before we found this ketchup, we never did anything with high fructose corn syrup. So we would buy an all natural ketchup that it had sugar in it, but it had no high fructose corn syrup in it. And my youngest, she's 11 now, but when she was younger, even like when she was 3 or 4, she had heard me, talking about high fructose corn syrup. And so she knew that it was bad. And so she would always ask, because she couldn't read at the time. So she would always ask, Mama, does this have high fructose corn syrup in it? And I'd say, no. And this is just a funny story about this. When we happened to be out at Texas Roadhouse for dinner with my husband's folks. And my husband decided to tease her, she was maybe 4 at the time, and she was really overtired too, as it was. She might have been 4 or 5, but again, at this time we weren't keto, but we didn't eat. Well, my husband and I were keto at this time, but the kids, they were just more low carb. But if we were out and she wanted French fries or burger or whatever, but she really likes ketchup, and so he was teasing her and he said, Zoe, that ketchup from the restaurant has high fructose corn syrup in it, and she just lost it and started crying. And yeah, it was not nice then. But you can look back and laugh at that. But out of the mouth of babes, they know what's not good. So I know there's more expensive ketchups like Primal Kitchen that don't have any sweetener in them, and that's all fine and dandy. But it's out of my budget. So we do use a ketchup that is sweetened with stevia, but it has no bad oils or anything like that. So I do not have sugar with stevia. That was the biggest mouth um, mouth to brain disconnect that there was. So that was everything, all of my things that I just wanted to uh, correct. And I hope that you'll actually watch the whole video um, on Carrie's channel, because I think it was really, really good. And, he takes the time to really interview people thoroughly, and he's just so gracious. And, I don't think that I have a big story or, anything important, but Adam was, again, just very, gracious and um, letting me know that he thinks my story was important. And so um, that that just made all the difference. So I hope you enjoyed this first reaction video, and that my technology difficulties weren't too painful. And yeah, just celebrate with me in figuring out how to kind of do something. I know it's not the best one, but I'll figure it out. It can only go up from here, right? So thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll talk again soon.